In this series, we're examining a number of ways in which we can help resolve issues that may occur in our life. There's no doubt that the human psyche is incredibly complex, and when we experience drama and trauma, we tend to tuck it away deep somewhere within our subconscious mind. So what we need to find is a way that we can access that information, bring it to the surface so that we can treat these problems at the cause rather than the symptom. Today we have an opportunity to examine hypnotherapy, and Bill Patterson is a practitioner who has been working in this field for some time. So we're going to get a glimpse as to how hypnotherapy can help us come to terms with and resolve issues in our lives. Bill, what was it that first inspired you to get into hypnotherapy as a modality?
Well, Bev, I guess I've always been interested in the potential and the powers of the mind, and it's such a rapidly developing area of human research now. And I changed in midlife from a career in a large corporate enterprise to working basically one-on-one with people using hypnosis, and I found extraordinary potentials and healing possibilities out of that.
Do you find that many patients who come to you for the first time believe honestly that they can't be hypnotised?
It's quite common for people to think that they can't be hypnotised because they feel as though it's some sort of mysterious power that only others might experience. So they've watched television shows and seen some extraordinary acts of unself-consciousness, which is a phenomenon of trance, but usually people are quite surprised that it's a lot more simpler than they think.
Are there some patients who really resist handing over control of their minds, or what they perceive to be handing over control of their minds to somebody else?
I think that's also common, but becoming less common because people are much more informed now about hypnosis as something as a natural phenomenon that you can naturally access yourself.
Do you find that there are some complaints that are easier to treat than others using hypnotherapy?
Look, each situation is an individual situation, and the subjective view of that person has a big influence on whatever symptoms or problems they're showing. But I would say that anything that really emanates from some unconscious expression or process of life or some conditioning has a potential for positive influence from hypnosis, and even situations which involve a brain pathology. And what I mean by that is some psychosis or some brain trauma that has caused physical damage still has a potential to be assisted through relaxation of stress or some sort of reinterpretation of how life is.
Bill, being that a lot of the traumas and dramas in our life get suppressed and you regress a patient back to find out the cause of their problem, do they actually relive the dramas of that time, the trauma?
Once again, it can do, but it's not necessary. For example, an individual might have sustained, as you said, some significant trauma early in their life, and the unconscious mind has this wonderful ability to be able to protect that person from the continuing damage of that trauma. But in fact, the trauma remains within the person, psychologically, and I would argue physically as well. And because of that repression, it's affecting that person's life. So hypnosis can be an avenue to regress back to that point. But it's not the only way of approaching an issue of trauma or repressed emotion. But ultimately, whatever's repressed, if it can be expressed, helps liberate that feeling and helps that person function more effectively.
So, given that, do some of them show obvious signs of stress and tension when they actually get back to relive to that moment in time? When
the trauma is brought forward, it's very rarely a pleasant experience. It can be a difficult and challenging time because you're bringing up content that has basically been forgotten, or the mind has developed a protective amnesia, and then it's relived, and it can be very vivid and very challenging. But I think with a skillful and understanding approach, and you can help that person process that feeling and get an effective outcome.
We have the four aspects of our being, and obviously hypnosis is a way of drawing out an imbalance. Do you find that it works more effectively on one aspect more than another?
I would put it this way, and frame it this way, that I see it as a mind-body experience, and that our spirituality, of course, is an extension of that, or it embraces that. But if we looked at ourselves as a mind-body experience, we have a body, we have mental processes which we refer to as mind, consciousness, if you like, is a part of our mind, or our mind is a part of consciousness. There's still a great area of questioning on that subject, but to look at the mind and body, I think it's important to look at it as not separate, not divided. It's always in unity in some way or another, and we try to separate it in the mainstream model of medicine and psychology. They become two separate entities, and I think it's very helpful to see it as a unified field, and you influence one, you influence the other.
Do those people who resist hypnosis also, are they the ones who have trouble meditating?
Well, it can be very frustrating for someone who's starting out on the path of meditation. They may have found that their doctor, we've got a lot of enlightened doctors now who've seen the research, who will recommend to their patients to take on meditation as a means for dealing with their symptoms, their pain, their problems in life. But because the person has been so stressed, they find it difficult to concentrate or to quiet their mind, and this is a huge barrier to meditation. So the answer to that is, whether it's meditation or it's hypnosis, you need to find a way, a pathway to get to that quiet state of mind. With hypnosis, it's facilitated. With meditation, you find the techniques and skills to get to that place.
Mm-hmm. Bill, I've read Michael Newton's books on Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. When you regress a patient under hypnosis, do you find that sometimes they spontaneously slip into a past life experience?
And the answer is yes. Often that's, when I say often, they seem to come in surges. There might be a collective energy at some space and time where all of a sudden you're finding 5 or 6 people turn up and they're accessing a past life. So it can be spontaneous. Some people request that they're looking for the solutions of the problems of their life. They can't see it in their present life, and they're sure that something else has happened, and so they're open to looking at that too, and it can be quite a profound and beneficial experience.
Do you find that the use of self-hypnosis can actually assist people in regaining control and bringing balance into their own lives? Yes,
and in fact, in reality, all hypnosis is a form of self-hypnosis. It's not someone doing something to you. And people can find enormous benefit out of the resources that are available from self-hypnosis, because through the power of the mind, through imagery, through assessing, through allowing the mind to find some stillness or silence, the body seems to have this, and mind seems to have this extraordinary capacity to reach balance, to find a wise solution, if you like. So using the processes of self-hypnosis can be very powerful and life-changing.
Bill, thanks very much for giving us a very informative but brief overview of hypnotherapy.
My pleasure, Bev.
And if you'd like further information, please visit the Pathways website.
For more information about Pathways magazine, visit our website www.pathways33.com. There you'll find all the contact details for the guests that appear on our show, and you'll also find out about glyconutrient supplements and also how you can work from home in the wellness industry. Hope you enjoyed the show. We certainly enjoyed putting it together. We'll see you again next time.